Grok 4.5, Claude Opus 5, and Gemini 3.6. Flash all claim they're the coding agent you should build on, so I ran the same 5 tests on all 3. Cost, coding benchmarks, speed, context and output limits, and deployment. The biggest surprise isn't who wins. It's that Grok 4.5 advertises a 500,000 token output limit, and the practical number developers are actually seeing is closer to 32,000 to 64,000. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one of these 3 you should be running your coding agent on, and which one's spec sheet you shouldn't trust. Cost decides whether an agent running all day is affordable or a runaway bill. According to official pricing docs, Grok 4.5 charges $6 per million output tokens. Claude Opus 5 charges $25 per million, and Gemini 3.6 Flash charges $750 per million. Flash flips the script on input, though. It's $150 per million input tokens against Grok's $2 and Opus 5's $5, and its cached input price of 15 cents per million is the cheapest of the 3. At 10 million output tokens a month, Flash runs about $75 against Opus 5's $250, $175 monthly gap. Grok 4.5 wins this test on the number that matters most for a coding agent, output price. That puts Grok 4.5 at 1, Claude Opus 5 at 0, and Gemini 3.6 Flash at 0. Price alone doesn't tell you if the code actually works, though. That means Opus 5's output costs over 4 times what Grok charges for the same job. My name is Brian, and I review AI software, so you don't have to. This is the test that decides whether your agent ships working code or hands you a mess to clean up. On SWE Bench Verified, the benchmark built from real GitHub issues, Claude Opus 5 scores 96% according to official docs, the number 1 spot on BenchLM's leaderboard. Grok 4.5 comes in at 86.6%, a strong number, but a real gap under Opus 5. Gemini 3.6 Flash has no published SWE Bench Verified figure at all. On SWE Bench Pro, the harder variant, Opus 5 scores 79.2% against Grok's 64.7%. Flash again has nothing published here. The one benchmark where Grok pulls ahead is Deep SWE, an agentic coding test, where it scores 62% against Flash's 49%, both vendor reported. Opus 5 has no published Deep SWE number. That makes it Claude Opus 5 1, Grok 4.5 1, Gemini 3.6, Flash 0. Knowing which model writes the most reliable code doesn't help if it takes forever to respond. Claude Opus 5 wins this test clean, and it's not close on the 2 benchmarks that matter most for production code. One of the biggest problems I run into when using AI agents is turning their output into YouTube content I can actually use to market my product. That's why this video is sponsored by Subscriber, a tool that helps business owners connect their AI agents to YouTube and market their products without spending 10 hours every week creating content. You can connect Claude or ChatGPT directly to Subscriber. It then analyzes your business, website, and YouTube channel to help you create SEO-optimized video ideas, scripts, thumbnails, and even complete videos that actually match your brand. What I like most is that every week, Subscriber gives me a list of high-potential video ideas I can immediately execute, and it can even help edit videos for me, with or without my face, including videos like the one you're watching right now. It's easy to get started, and you can try Subscriber for free using the link in the description below. Now back to the video. A model that codes accurately but crawls breaks the flow of a real agent loop. Community-reported testing from Artificial Analysis puts Gemini 3.6 Flash at 304 tokens per second, ranked number 1 out of 186 tracked models. Grok 4.5 runs at 61 tokens per second, and Claude Opus 5 sits close behind at around 51 to 53. That means Flash is running roughly 5 times faster than the other 2. Push Opus 5 to high reasoning effort and it drops to 50.6 tokens per second, while Flash at high effort still holds between 213 and 235. Grok has no published figure at high effort. Gemini 3.6 Flash takes this test by a wide margin. That puts Gemini 3.6 Flash at 1, Claude Opus 5 at 1, and Grok 4.5 at 1. Every product's on the board now, and the next test is where the real story starts. Stick with me, because the last 4 tests are where this decision actually flips. Hit an output ceiling mid-generation, and you're stitching a broken response back together by hand. Grok 4.5 advertises the smallest context window here at 500,000 tokens, while Claude Opus 5 and Gemini 3.6 Flash both publish a full 1 million, according to official docs. The real gap is in max output per call. Grok 4.5 advertises up to 500,000 tokens out, but that's the number from our earlier hook, and the practical figure developers report is closer to 32 to 64,000. Gemini 3.6 Flash caps out lower still at 64,000. Opus 5 also carries the freshest knowledge cutoff of the three, May 2026, against Flash's March and Grok's February. Claude Opus 5 wins this test on both. That one's a tie between Opus 5 and Flash. Claude Opus 5 publishes a clean 128,000 token cap, with 300,000 available in batch mode, and that's a real, usable number, not an asterisk. Next up is deployment and modality, the test that quietly decides whether the rest of this comparison even matters. On deployment and modality, Claude Opus 5 pulled clearly ahead once the workload got real. So Claude Opus 5 takes deployment and modality, and the scoreboard shifts its way. Here is where Grok 4.5 clearly pulls ahead of the field. Now, here is where Claude Opus 5 clearly pulls ahead of the field. Here is where Gemini 3.6 Flash clearly pulls ahead of the field. Pick the one whose single biggest strength matches the job in front of you today. One thing the docs never spell out will quietly cost you if you miss it. If this helped, the next breakdown on the channel goes even deeper.